So, y'all, Derek Carr, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, most notably known as the quarterback for the Las Vegas Oakland Raiders. He retires, y'all, after 11 years and battling a rigorous shoulder injury as well. Derek Carr finally retires. He finishes off with 41,245 passing yards, which is top 25 all time in the NFL. He had 257 passing touchdowns. He's a four-time Pro Bowler, and when I mean four-time, and I'm talking like 2015 to 2017, Derek Carr, he was something else, y'all. I want to give him his flowers. He was that man's a gunslinger. Again, he has stints with the Raiders and the Saints, unfortunately, he didn't have the best rosters with either team. He only made the playoffs once with the Raiders. They made it twice, but he broke his leg. He broke his leg in 2016. That 2016 season, that could have been something for him. He was third in MVP voting as well that year. So if he just didn't get hurt again, I think it was against the Indianapolis Colts where he broke his leg. If he didn't do that in 2016, who knew where the Raiders will be at that point? And so that's a big what if in that sense. Again, he's 0-1 in the playoffs. He also has the most passing yards in NFL history without a playoff win. And again, wins aren't a QB stat by any means, y'all. I don't think that too much, but at the same time, I think he didn't play too well in that game against the Bengals. So I don't, so it still reflects on you if you can't perform well, regardless of the team around you. And again, the Raiders, they didn't have a really good roster in his 9 years with them. They only made the playoffs twice with him. And they don't get me started on the Saints. Actually, you know what? The Saints actually had a good roster, actually. The Saints had a way better roster than what the Raiders had, and they just still couldn't really, they couldn't really do much with Derek Carr, and then with the pieces they had. And I think they just were hit with the injury bug altogether, that whole team, not even just Derek Carr. You had people falling off like flies, in a sense, for that team. The gunslinger, he hangs it up. He gave it all he had up until the very end, y'all. I think in week 13 of last year was the last play of Derek Carr's career, presumably. It was a 9-yard scramble where he tried to leap over a Dory Jackson to try to get the first down. I think it was on second or third down, I believe it was. That looks like to be the play, because I think he also had a broken hand. He had to be battling a concussion. So it's like he was just beat up. But the thing about Derek Carr, y'all, is like he never really cheated the game. As a Broncos fan, during the years of 2015 to 2017, his 9 years with the Raiders, I'm gonna be honest, like he carved up the Denver Broncos, and he just seeing him do what he did with that team, like I said, congratulations to Derek Carr. It sucks that this is the way it had to go for him. Like I said, he's not to discredit him, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback by any means, y'all, but he definitely is. He was very consistent as a quarterback, and he made plays when they needed to be made. And so, like I said, shout out to Derek Carr for that 11-year stint he had. So, but let's look at the state of the Saints quarterback room right now, y'all. Let's look at the 3 quarterbacks they have on that roster as of right now. They have a rookie, they have a second-year player, and they have a third-year player. They have a combined record of 0-7. Spencer Rattler is 0-6. Jake Heiner is 0-1. Let's look at that rookie that they drafted over Shador. Tyler Shuck, he had the second worst quarterback accuracy versus Power 5 schools, which is... all right, buddy. He played like 7, like I said, he played like 20 years or something like that in college, but he has a completion percentage of 42% when he's pressured, and 58% when he's blitzed. And then he has a solid completion percentage when he has a clean pocket. But my room looks amazing when it's clean, of course. So anybody's gonna look good when the pocket's clean, when you don't have someone in your face 24/7. But looking at the New Orleans Saints, he's gonna have to deal with people being in his face majority of the time in the NFL. And then, like I said, but the New Orleans Saints, they got to develop one of these guys, whether it be Spencer Rattler, whether it be Jake Hunter or Tyler Shuck. One of those guys will have to step up to the plate. If we look at the other two guys, Spencer Rattler has a completion percentage of 57 in his career. Again, he only had 6 starts. He has 1,317 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Jake Heiner, in his lone start last year, he had a 46% completion percentage, had a touchdown and an interception. Now I'm looking at this, I'm like, is this the worst quarterback roster in the NFL? I think it is, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe on top of maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll get into them later in this show as well. But those two teams have probably the worst quarterback room in the NFL. I think the Saints might be trying to claw their way out of 4th place, dead last in the division this year. Again, the NFC South is very weak. I think it's one of the weakest divisions regardless. So, you got the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young. Who knows what they're going to do. You got the Atlanta Falcons with, Michael Penix Jr., so they got the second-year player in him. What are they going to do? You know what I'm saying? So, honestly, 4th might be, not too bad in terms of these teams might the winner of this division might be an 8 and 9 team. You know what I'm saying? It's not unprecedented for sure for these teams. This division to be as terrible as it is. And again, so I think with the Saints, we're going to see what's going to happen with them. Maybe, if Arch Manning does declare for the draft next year, they could get someone like him again, or, one of those other guys. So if they can get him, will he be the savior for the Saints? I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think, because
I will start watching football. I will start.
And that's reasonable, because like I said, watching him at Texas, and we get to see the full picture, y'all, of Arch Manning. So when he came in a couple times for Texas when Quinn Ewers got hurt, granted, he didn't play nobody too serious, I'm trying to think, who did they play that he played against? Did they play Georgia and he was there? No, they were going to bring him in. No, they did bring him in because Quinn Ewers actually struggled against Georgia last year. So, and he didn't pan too well against them, but we're getting a full season of Arch Manning. Like I said, this is, who knows, he might even go 2 years, actually. It might take 2 years for him to, come out of college himself, but it would probably be the smarter bet, you know what I'm saying? But again, Saints, worst quarterback roster in the NFL. They're probably going to be 4th in the division and, fighting for a top 3 pick next year. So, shout out to them. If Shador pans out in Cleveland, I'm gonna be honest. If Shador pans out in Cleveland, they're probably gonna, Saints fans, they might be on some type of watch for a little bit. But we'll see what happens there, partners.